Thank you so much for that introduction, Mr. Drahazel. To the MPA class of 2018, I'm honored to be with you today to commemorate your graduation festivities from one of the finest high schools in the United States. Before I begin, I just want to confirm one thing for you. MPA has prepared you for college and beyond. This is a special community with special people, led by the teachers and the administration. I'm truly forever indebted to you all, and I thank you immensely for your commitment to my education and development as a human being. So I have to begin this by just giving a round of applause to the teachers and the administration for everything they've done. So when Mr. Drahazel asked me a few months ago to deliver, some advice to the senior class today, I immediately started wondering whether I was qualified. In many ways, I'm no different from you seniors in the room. I'm also undergoing enormous life transformations. Last summer, I purchased my first apartment, and only a few months later, I got married to my wife, Gina. We've been discussing having our first kid soon, which is crazy. But, like college for you all, it's also uncharted territory with all sorts of unknowns and new challenges. In terms of my habits, even though I just turned 33, there's still a lot of youth in me. I still eat cereal for dinner all the time. I incessantly check the number of likes I've received after an Instagram post. Whenever I'm a passenger in a car, I ask at least every 10 minutes, when are we going to get there? And I continue to rely on my parents for things large and small. In fact, I even got a ride today from my mom, who's right there. Against that backdrop, I want to tell you 3 stories of my life over the last 15 years when I was in your shoes graduating from MPA. That's it, just 3 stories. The first story has to do with failure. In the fall of 2006, I was starting my senior year in college, and I hadn't developed any concrete post-graduation plans. This was before the financial crisis of 2008, and so for many of us college seniors, there was one thing we wanted to become: an investment banker. I didn't know much about investment banking, so I knew I had my work cut out for me. I spent hours reading about boring things like interest rates and mortgages. I practiced interviewing with my college career counselor. I bought a new suit and shiny new shoes for my interviews. I even timed my haircut so that it didn't appear too short for my first interview. Armed with plenty of facts and figures and appropriately groomed, I was ready. I landed a handful of interviews and I didn't get a single callback. Not one. How could this be? I had prepared. I was able to answer all of their questions. Thought I had gotten along well with the interviewers. To this day, I'm really not sure why I didn't get one second look. Suppose the competition was just too fierce, or others were just naturally better fits. Needless to say, in light of all of my hard work and preparation, I was disappointed. And so, halfway through my senior year of college, I still didn't know what I was going to do after graduation. I started thinking about the things I enjoyed, and they had nothing to do with interest rates and mortgages. I loved and still love politics and history and languages. After some reflection and on the advice of a college professor who also served as my mentor, I decided to move to London for further study. Aside from getting to live in London for a year and getting a graduate degree, I got to travel to cities like Paris, Lisbon, and Amsterdam for short weekend trips. I made several lifelong friends who had come to the UK from different parts of the world, and I got to experience life outside of the United States. Even though I wasn't able to develop a British accent after a year in London, which was the primary purpose of this voyage, I still view my time in Europe as one of the best times of my life. When I finished my program, it was May 2008, and I came across an opportunity through a friend to work on the presidential campaign of then-Senator Barack Obama. I landed a gig with the Illinois field operation and managed an office of volunteers on 65th and Stony. Each day, I'd oversee dozens of volunteers, make thousands of calls to undecided voters the campaign had identified in swing states. I helped organize trips each weekend in which we sent Southside residents to neighboring swing states like Indiana, Wisconsin, and Iowa. I developed new valuable skills, and I made plenty of new friends, from local junior high school students to senior citizens, some of whom hadn't been involved in politics since Harold Washington's campaign for mayor in the early 1980s. And of course, we all know how the 2018 presidential race ended. The lesson learned here is that at some point, we're all bound to stumble, because that's just how life goes. especially if you're constantly pushing yourself higher. And when you do stumble, after you lick your wounds, I want you to remember this. Failure can actually be a good thing. It's life trying to move you in another direction. I ultimately went to law school and now work as a lawyer in New York at a firm I love. I met my wife, who is also a lawyer, through this career. As much as it may have stung me at the time, not getting that first post-college job was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Failure forced me to pivot to bigger and better things. The second story has to do with seeking balance. I'm admittedly not the best example of balance. As my wife will tell you, I'm a bit of a workaholic and am very much a creature of habit. Finding balance is a constant struggle for me and requires me to force myself to make new decisions about how I spend my time and break old patterns of behavior. Looking back on college, though, there's one thing I did that I'm very proud of that really helped me live a more balanced life. And I honestly usually keep this thing kind of a secret because it's kind of dorky. In fact, I managed to keep it a secret from my wife for 6 months after we started dating, until she found out via a YouTube video while stalking me online. For 4 years of college, I was a member of an Indian dance troupe. I'm not Indian, though I look Indian. And my dance experience up to that point had been limited to school dances in the MPA cafeteria. Nonetheless, every week for 2 hours, over the course of 4 years, I took a break from studying, from hanging out with my go-to friend group, to attend dance practice. I made extremely close friends who I probably wouldn't have otherwise met, and to put it simply, I just had a blast dancing. I can't say that I was any good, but that's beside the point. I took a chance by joining a random activity that I myself would have normally teased others for joining. I found a refuge during stressful times and made some of my best memories that I have from college. You don't have to join a dance troupe to be well-rounded, and we shouldn't think that balance is achieved by simply joining Club X or having Hobby Y. Finding balance is about realizing that you probably shouldn't eat pizza every night and mixing in a salad here and there. It's about getting a summer job, even though you'd rather stay home watching a Breaking Bad marathon on TV. Being balanced requires making different investments in yourself on an ongoing basis and as a lifestyle. And at times putting yourself in places you haven't been before. There's so many opportunities you guys will have in college, both as an academic matter and otherwise. Take an art history class even though you're an economics major. Study abroad. Organize social outings with friends. Travel. Go to museums. Read fiction. Meditate. Volunteer. Go on dates. Join an intramural sports team. Study hard. Hit the dance floor when the opportunity presents itself. Follow what's going on with our elected officials, or maybe not. Learn a new language. You get the picture. Balance is about pursuing all of these things. Of course, not all in one day, but by selectively weaving them into your life to the point where it becomes natural. This third story has to do with character. Character is harder to find, but one thing I know for sure is that it's different from reputation. Character consists of things like honesty, integrity, accountability, and kindness. Character, I've only somewhat sadly realized, is more important than grades or your resume. I've made many friends over the years who are each different and each bring unique things to the table. Of many great friends, it's the folks who have character who stand out the most. I have one friend who I adore because he time and time again displays what it means to have character. He's my friend Sandy. Let me tell you a story about Sandy. A few years ago when I was living in Chicago, Sandy, who I'd become very close friends with in law school, invited me to his 30th birthday party in New York City. I booked flights from Chicago to New York and was all set to travel to New York for the weekend. When Friday rolled around, I realized that there was a chance I'd have to work over the weekend. It wasn't a certainty, just a chance. I called Sandy and told him that I couldn't go due to my work, which wasn't entirely true. It had just been a long week and I was exhausted. The weekend came and went and I had 9 hours of work. I missed one of my best friend's 30th birthday parties because I was tired and concerned about a potential slight inconvenience. Fast forward a few months and it's me hosting my own 30th birthday. The party started at around 7 p.m. Sandy, of course, landed at 6 p.m., took the cab straight to the venue, and flew out the following morning at 6 a.m. because he had to be back at the office the next day. Some might think he's crazy for doing this, but I'll tell you what. I'll never forget the move it was that he came, especially in light of what I had done a few months before. I cherish his friendship deeply and even asked him to speak at my wedding because he consistently shows me that he's reliable, transparent, and cares about me. Being around him offers refreshing reminders of good character. What you learn over time, if you haven't already, is that the older you get, the less things like popularity matter. At the end of the day, people just want to be around nice, reliable, and caring people. As Maya Angelou once said, people forget about what you say or what you do, but people don't forget about how you make them feel. Making other people feel good by having good character, treating them with kindness, with respect, and being reliable takes effort. It's not always easy to do the right thing. It's often easier to hedge, to make excuses, to look out for your self-interest, and skip that important commitment or birthday party. I urge you all to place as much focus on developing your character as your intellect and social life over the next 4 years and beyond. So that's really all I've got. With any failure, opportunity follows. Strive to achieve balance in your life and be a person of character. I wish you all great success, good health, and memorable, rich experiences with friends and loved ones in college and beyond. Congratulations to the MBA class of 2018.
Omar, as far as our recipient of our first annual Young Alum Award for coming out for this, as far as contributions that you made, obviously, here at Morgan Park Academy in your profession, and also as far as to society as a whole. So our first Young Alum Award winner at Morgan Park Academy, Omar Raddawi.